I'm interested to see what FineOK can do up against that Cucullin, who has been notoriously a top pick lately. I think last week, he was one of the top bans. He was also one of the most picked if he did come through, kind of up towards the top, either #1 or at least in the top 3. So there's a lot of threats on the board to keep your eye on here.
Absolutely, and the desk conveyed some worry about where the pressure would come from for the Solar Scarabs. Early on, it's being placed by the Dragons onto inbound here. Zapman able to outtrade Panda Cat just a little bit at both supports. Had left lane there. Of course, the Emoja going to have some extra sustain, but here in the mid lane, Hurrywin being jumped on the Aegis, potentially saving the life of the Soul there out of mid, but early fireworks in the middle of the map.
Something that they're going to have to be very worried about. Hurrywin, I think, is going to be a big threat. This is something that has been happening a little bit more often. Sam's actually going in!
Oh, and he's got first blood. The blink and the double dash is enough to grab the first kill of the game onto Layers. And how about the map awareness of Sanford Soccer to know where Layers is going to be, and Layers probably thinking Sam.
At least for that one, but there's definitely, I think, a little more of a threat to the build coming down from Sam right now. Just because he already has that tier 1 online, I think he's going to be able to hit a little harder, a little faster.
We'll see if this Nemesis can find some pressure early on in the game here. A duel happening over in the duo lane. Zapman has to airstrike away, but Panda Cat solo as inbound will look to chase down the kill, but Sanford Soccer is here.
Okay.
And the ultimate is gone down onto inbound. The rocket flies through for the last bit of damage, and a couple autos is all Sam needs. Now 2-0. On the board for the Jade Dragons jungler.
I will admit, part of me forgot you could launch the rocket. I like being the rocket, and so being able to launch it safe.
Pressure over on the right. Successful blue buff invade now for the Solar Scarabs. Things not going well on the left-hand side. Maybe you start to look towards the right, but Jade Dragons continuing to put pressure onto Zapman, onto inbound as well. Still level 4 for this Yamoja. Sanford Soccer rotates back through. Does not have his ultimate up just yet, but still has plenty of damage to work in onto Zapman, who will get burned away, and Sanford Soccer is on a killing spree 5.5 minutes in.
That was a good target swap. It felt like inbound was the one that they wanted to focus down and try to lock down, and they got him relatively low, but then immediately they drive it home into Zap. Then I look at their draft, and I think, man, Susano's going to be better with time, Raijin's going to be better with time, Yamoja's going to be better with time, Cucullin's going to be in the fights. I think there's a lot that can be said over the next 5 minutes for the Scarabs, maybe next 10 minutes for him.
Oh, I hate that for SOT. He did 99.9% of the damage to the Greater Scorpion and loses it and might lose his life as well. It's a big typhoon from Layers, but it's a 2-kill sweep for the Jade Dragons. This time Hurrywin rotates in and will pick up one. Gore, this is probably the worst way that the first 6 minutes and 45 seconds of this game could have gone for the Solar Scarabs. Only task to get themselves back into it. 2K was about a minute ago. We're now at 3K of a differential. Inbound sticks his head into the wrong part of town, and he'll have to leave. Maybe it's just about slowing down this pace score, because 5 kills in 7 minutes feels real bad if you're a Solar Scarab.
I mean, but that's the hard part. I mean, look at this. PDM is, well, not by himself anymore, but getting aggressive, hyper-aggressive onto him, willing to dive at tier 2. Zapman has no health, hardly any mana enough to contest this purple buff. And that's the downside right now, is you have a good draft, but it's going to take a little while to get online, even more so because, as you highlighted, everybody has fallen behind in terms of where they are.
Oh, no.
Look, if your support's traveling like that in the jungle, you're absolutely feeling yourselves. This is a point, again, maybe even a turning point, to just dig your heels in as the Scarabs. At this point, you need more farm than you need left side of the map. Try to keep Zap inbound back into it, but also find a way to get Layers into this. Alleviate some of the pressure from the Dragons and potentially get themselves a Gold Fury. There's definitely a lot of neutral objectives that can swing them back into this game, but things haven't been going their way.
Panda's getting looked at here by Layers and inbound. Where did health bar go? Panda Cat does almost 100% of inbound's health in just a second or two, and Layers does not want to suffer the same fate, so he will leap away. And at this point, Gore, the left side of the map might just...
Left down, you're losing a lot of pressure like around that purple buff. Now all of a sudden that's dangerous. What Zapman just did is dangerous. Trying to get these mid camps is dangerous because you're one bad stun, one bad engage away from virtually getting killed off.
Oh man, big burst damage from Hurrywin to engage. Force Baronic and inbound out of this fight. No chance for Layers. Not when PBM is going to leap in, but Layers looking like he'll be able to survive. But SOT rounds the backside, grabs the kill on a Sanford Soccer. That's a shutdown onto the Nemesis as the rest of the Jade Dragons grouped up here. Zapman pouring out damage from the backline, but FineOK has had enough. It's a double kill for the Gilgamesh, a drop kick against the wall, and now Solo Lane starting to get unchained as well.
And SOT gets out of there alive. I meant to mention this earlier in the set, but this is his 200th competitive game. I think he wishes right now that it could be going a little bit better for him. but he has made that a pretty big threshold for himself. Something I literally couldn't figure out how to fit it in other than, hey, I'm talking about SOT right now. Might as well throw it out there while I have the chance because so far it's been all dragons all day. What is that, 6,000 gold, a little over, that's in their favor, about to go up even more because of the Pyromancer experience in their favor by a pretty large margin, almost 8,000 in that regard. I mean, you know, hate them, love them, whatever you want to say. They are winning this game right now. Granted, I mean, everything I'm talking about is very risky business if they decide to get in there, but I feel like risky business is about to be all they have left.
SOT's been kicked by the wayside here as the Tier 2 tower siege continues for the Jade Dragons. Bit of a duel over on the left-hand side of the map as Sanford Soccer wants to get aggressive onto Zapman. Let's see if those crits ring true, and they sure do for Sanford Soccer. Zapman goes bye-bye, and in I think one purchase score. I didn't even see the 1-2 tier item pop up in the shop. I think he just straight up bought it. And now that 20% chance has gotten a little bit higher. Inbound throws up the River's Rebuke, but no matter as PBM chops him down. Panda Cat uses the Aegis, but Layers will pick up the kill there. And now the re-engage from the Jade Dragons is swift. It's a double kill for the support of the Jade Dragons. PBM 306.
And now still chasing him down. It doesn't matter if you get SOT or Baronic here. Look at the pressure they should be able to get on the Tier 2. Last tower standing for the Scarabs, by the way. 17 minutes in.
Without a Fire Giant.
Looking to go down. I mean, this is something that is, deadly. Without a Fire Giant being taken, this is that moment where I typically would have said and would have expected to see a team back off for a Fire Giant. They might actually be overextending here on the Dragon.
Wow, look at Sam. He's feeling confident, huh? That's been the name of the game for the Jade Dragons. Sam really just buys some space there for the rest of the Jade Dragons to secure the mid lane Phoenix. 17 minutes, 40 seconds into the game. Fire Giant working down the mid wave with 2 waves of fire minions behind him. 5-1 and 1 for the Nemesis right now. Solar Scarabs fully reinforced under this left side Phoenix. Zapman channeling his back, so maybe now the Jade Dragons go because it's going to take a minute for the Jingwei to get back, and Inbound traps himself in the River's Rebuke but is able to walk away thanks to the Riptide. FinoK chases down the Yamoja. Layers loses the 1v1 to Sanford Soccer but makes his way alive back into the fountain. It's SOT, the last Solar Scarab left standing beneath the left side. Phoenix, who let out a roar, and the Jade Dragons look to continue on.
Oh, SOT's just melted. That Phoenix is still gone. Fire minions from mid coming in, and they still have, 2 minutes, 15 seconds on the Fire Giant? I feel like you do not do anything but go for the Titan.
Yeah, Zapman, Baronic, you got the damage online. Layers is there as well, but you've got no frontline. Layers finds his way into the back, but the Jade Dragons have all eyes on the Titan. This one, all Dragons, all day. And in 20 minutes and 28 seconds score, the Jade Dragons will find themselves in control of game number 1. Not particularly close.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities. I think I saw some good play that existed there for the Scarabs, but not enough, right, that you're able to truly pull things back into your favor. So I think there's...
Effectively, they literally won the game against them. I mean, it just requires so much team cohesion on the other side, and moments like that to shot call and make split-second decisions on how to deal with things like that. Panda Cat uses beads. Inbound blinks in early. Sanford Soccer looking for a little engagement here in the mid lane. As Layers finds big damage, Sanford Soccer dashes in to all the damage there. Hurrywind returns a little bit himself as well. Layers left with a little bit more HP than his counterpart over on the Susana.
But to keep it acting contact, although Layers going in. It doesn't get the kill though. Sam just barely teleports out. Baronic doesn't seem to have the abilities to close the gap. That honestly might come back to be very important. I think Layers, especially on this Ratatosker, is going to be a lot more aggressive. But an early kill, that get early pressure back onto the Tiamat. Like you just said, the Dragons having just lost to those minions. I had to pull it out. I'll give them the shout out afterward. But 4,562 points of damage is how much the Tiamat minions did to the Titan that game. The minions did the other 6,000.
Oh no, SOT nearly gets the solo kill on FinoK. And Gormizer, that's a stat. What do you say, 4,562? Sorry, I'm going to make you pull it back up. 4,000 something.
4,562.
Damn, good memory by me. You said it like 12 seconds ago, so I should remember that. But I think clearly showing how much damage those minions can do if given the opportunity. Panda Cat has to impale this Uller away. Zapman hits the stun from range. Inbound needs a little bit more, but said Zapman's got it. And that is what this lane was built to do. A Hercules and an Uller brought together. They're always going to have
able to come through. If they can continue this pace and maybe even step it up a notch, get some more kills on the board, then I think this is going to be a game where the Dragons are going to be the ones looking like the Scarabs did in Game 1.
Agreed. I want to see what happens over in the solo lane core as this game goes on. We're not going to get a chance to look over there, though, as Layers barely makes it up into the sky from the mid lane through space and time, flies through, and inbound flies up. Hurrywind picks up the first return kill of the game, and the Jade Dragons now on the board. And that was dangerously close to being a 2-kill swing. Layers, got to imagine, double digits.
To start with worrying about the map, it's kind of frightening to take the greater Scorpion here, because you take the Scorpion, if you lose a fight, you're out.
Could be a fight around the purple buff here. Sanford Soccer and Hurrywind make their way from the mid lane. Zapman will leap away. He uses the beads, but he'll survive. Now Final K being dove beneath the tier 1 tower over on the right-hand side. SOT doesn't have the damage as Final K lets out a roar, and the King Arthur chops down Kukulkan. And the Solar Scarabs have finally pushed that advantage to something other than a blue buff invade over there on the right-hand side. It was playing with saying, I think, there could be some humor involved there if you're anyone other than the Jade Dragons throwing maybe a bit of a lead away.
Look, if they had the lead from Game 1, they'd do it.
Correct. No, I think that's fair. Although, some of the players on Twitter, Gores, you've shouted out their milestones, haven't even realized that they're in those spots. PBM probably didn't realize that he was in a bit of danger here as SOT and the rest of the gang closed the gap in on PBM. And what a world of difference this Fafnir has felt like it's had in game number 2 as opposed to game number 1. At this point, PBM was effective there. Gold Fury looked at, and this is an important one, isn't it? Solar Scarabs have slowly built up about a 2,500 gold lead. But the Gold Fury is the big one in the early game to stabilize that lead if you're the Jade Dragons, if you're able to get in, steal that away. But it looks like the opposite. It looks like the Solar Scarabs are going to continue pushing the advantage, and Bobby drops the boulder. Layers drops down, gets a kill on the Panda Cat as well, and the duo lane for the Dragons is off the map.
I mean, night and day, right? This is exactly what was being done to the Scarabs. Granted, maybe one more kill earlier on for the Dragons, but flash for them. I'm liking it. Look, the Scarabs front line right now looks really good. I wish we could see, for me, I just want more fights. But that is something that I think both of these teams want to slow down on.
Inbound wants some more fighting as well. He'll blink over the wall beneath the tier 2 tower. The Aegis, perfect from Panda Cat, but is it enough? No, it is not. Zapman guns him down nonetheless. PBM will transform. Bye-bye. Zapman double kill over in the duo lane. That one brought to you for free by Inbound.
I mean, I love the fact, it's like he was listening to me. I call it out, he goes in, recognizes what he needs to do. Blink is going to be on cooldown. He manages to live through that one. Kind of low, though. So Sam might have the opportunity, with that teleport, at least to scare them, put some fright in there. But a tier 2 over on left before tier 1s fall in. Something you're going to have to be very aware of. And right now, at least for the Dragons, the way they're playing this, especially with the Scarab starting this up, it's to play defense. It's to stop the pressure on the left side Phoenix.
We'll see how much damage that man can do to this FG. About half of its health is the answer. But here comes the fight from the Solar Scarabs. It's a dunk down from Layers, and it's an immediate kill onto Panda Cat. A perfect target now for this Scarabs team. SOT will dash away from the fight. Inbound underneath the tier 2 tower. He'll survive somehow, and now Final K given a chance to turn this fight around as a volley of damage flies in from the backline. Sanford Soccer deleted by Zapman. This Uller worth his weight in gold. It's a double kill from Zapman, and the Solar Scarabs win another one.
Yeah, you can't underestimate the Zuler, and I think that's what Zapman's showing off here. 5-0. Number 4 on the damage charts, just barely behind the solo laners and the mid laner there.
Has been, I'm going to blink it and miss a pull, and then turn around and walk away. He hasn't been punished for missing any of those big committal engages so far. It feels like on this Hercules, going to be difficult to survive this siege when Zapman is chipping away at the Phoenix the way he is, unless you can find the big chain CC like that, and the Jade Dragons find Zapman with a 1-2-3 punch of crowd control. Now over in the mid lane, Sanford Soccer has to leave, but SOT says no way, the DOT will get that one done. But look at the health bars of the Jade Dragons. Gore certainly not healthy in the backline.
And now it's going to be up. Layers is on this guy, but they're going to go back in on the Hurwin.
Baronic left alone outside of the wall here. Final K should chase this one down with the portal. Keeps Baronic alive, and Inbound once again drops the boulder. This time onto the Jade Dragons mid laner. Final K finally will pick up the kill with the assist of the mid lane Phoenix there, and now the Solar Scarabs down to 2 inside of the base of the Jade Dragons. Inbound left alone here with 3 of the Solar Scarabs, unless someone steps on that door panel. Well, it gets opened up for Inbound there, and plenty tanky enough is this Hercules. So it is a Phoenix siege repelled by the Jade Dragons.
It takes a little longer for him to disengage, but they get the 2 important members.
But comes up just short this time. Pillar goes up from Panda Cat. And Zapman's got to be cautious this time. You got to imagine the last Phoenix siege goes better if that chain of CC doesn't connect onto the Uller, but over in the mid lane, Sanford Soccer and Layers dueling out. Typhoon flies through, Layers up into the sky, looking for the drop down, and he's got it. The 1v1 in mid could go over to Layers, and Layers has got it.
That's one of those awkward choices where you either have to turn around and hope for the best if you're Sam. I think cooldown's not opting to be in his favor, whereas Layers getting a little bit more of an edge on that one in mid.
Sure is. His Fine down to half HP. Inbound gets chipped away at as well. Update on the right-hand side. Tier 2 tower still standing. No threat there against the Solar Scarabs. Finally, the left side Phoenix will go down. And the rest of the Solar Scarabs working into the base of the Jade Dragons. 30 seconds left without Sanford Soccer, but the health bars are low. Half HP on most of the Solar Scarabs members. And the Jade Dragons can maybe take advantage of that. SOT left alone here, attempting to escape. And the Solar Scarabs will take left Phoenix, mid Phoenix, and get out alive.
I like the call, though. I mean, get out while you still can, right? Inbound precariously low. And it looks like PBM maybe getting too aggressive. This is actually where do I go? What do I do? And I guess
they want to fight! They want to fight! Layers up into the ultimate. Will not dunk down onto anyone, but he is in the back line. He has found Panicat, who uses the Aegis, and the Aegis will keep the On her alive just a little bit longer, but the damage is there, and Panicat will survive the onslaught. Inbound quite low here. SOT stunned against the wall, uses the beads. Final K had been left alone in the back line, gets pulled back in by Inbound, but Final K survives. Panicat turns it around and finally gets the kill, and the solo laner of the Dragons goes down as well. Oh, no. This is a big fight for the Jade Dragons, surging down the left-hand side.
Layers is low, Zap is low, Inbound. Look, he might have a lot of health. That Shield of Regrowth is going to be putting in a lot of work for him over the next little bit, but if they can close the gap, it doesn't look like they'll be... Could be a pretty easy tier 2, but I'm a little worried about the follow-up, specifically what the Scarabs are going to do. I don't want them to get too overzealous.
Sanford Soccer making the decision, saving our left side Phoenix as it respawns against the fire minions. More important than being on the right-hand side. Frenzy gets popped here. Zapman gets popped here. Layers nearly dies as well. Inbound turns tail. Baronic goes back through on the back line, and it's a double kill now for Pandacat. It is 1 minute death timers for 3 members of the Solar Scarabs.
I mean, look, you're probably going to lose your mid Phoenix again thanks to fire minions.
Inbound.
If I'm looking at it, well, Inbound, if he gets aggressive.
Inbound is back as well. The Phoenix gets taken down by the Jade Dragons as the Tiamat minions providing some support here. It's a double push back from Inbound. PBM throws a hammer by the wayside, and the Jade Dragons are in onto the Titan, and the Titan is melting quickly. The Jade Dragons have found their opening. The Jade Dragons are looking for it, but Layers has gotten the kill on the Panicat. The best target he could have found. PBM gets melted down on the back. Inbound's got one as well. The Jade Dragons are falling. The respawns are in, and the Solar Scarabs stay alive.
Look at Sam, though. Look at Sam. He's hovering around in the jungle. He's got some minions over here on right. Like, this is a very essential moment. That Titan is low. Is it low at
winning this game is Sanford Soccer going into the base and killing the Titan before the Solar Scarabs are able to do so. 4 members of the Solar Scarabs into the mid lane. Sanford Soccer and Layers dueling it out over here in the Solar Scarabs base. Sanford Soccer sends the Typhoon in onto the Titan. He's dealing enough damage, but he dashes away. Layers has got the kill, and the Solar Scarabs got the win in game number 2.
What a way to give me a heart attack there. Both of these teams, I don't understand. I don't know where. See some pressure from Layers, but they both transition in different ways to the late game. I'm excited to see what Sam's going to be able to do, even if they get aggressive or not, because that's going to be like the big question mark, right? If you want to, there's a lot of potential.
PBM gets stunned out here, and a wall from Inbound to keep a wall from PBM, excuse me. I'm thinking that's Inbound's wall. A wall from PBM to lock himself in place there, I guess. The Solar Scarabs make no mistake about that one. And First Blood goes on over to the jungler.
And in a way, Inbound did have his own wall up, and Layers as well, because they just body-blocked Mike against the wall to the point where there was nowhere to go. I mean, that might have been the world's easiest on-her ult for Zapman. It was such a good setup. But this might actually get turned around on him.
PBM not happy with how the last engagement went. He will blink in forward. This time it is a great wall to keep Inbound right where he is, but instead, the Solar Scarabs respond quickly. 2 more kills on the board for the Solar Scarabs. Sanford Soccer, with maybe one quick volley, can turn this fight around, nearly gets Layers. Pandacat lurking back behind as well, and it looks like a 2-for-1.
Might be able to get the red buff on the end of this, but yeah, like you said, a 2-for-1 feels a lot better for the Scarabs here. Yeah, you lose Zap, that's coming through here, specifically from Sam, that could create some good space for them as time goes forward. I think the Thanatos, especially with where he's looking right now, I mean, that could be a really good, clean gank for him. Again,
it could be.
He hit level 5. I'm looking towards him to be this kind of ult machine. I mean, like Scythe
Right.
does a lot of damage. His silence is insanely good, but we've only gotten to really see him engage once there, and I'd like to see a little bit more for him pushing forward, at least to be aggressive as a jungler.
Yeah, agreed, and we'll jump right back into the action here in game number 2 after a quick pause. The players will give up.
More early on, it's those team fights that are going to be such a pain when they get together, because looking at the draft style and the way they're playing so far, again, it's all this Hercules.
Mike blinks in, throws up the wall. Baronic through his own portal. Look at the damage from Sanford Soccer, but through space and time, right on through the Thanatos. Sanford Soccer will hovering death his way away
Right on out of
from this engagement. The Solar Scarabs, they get surprised there, Gore, by PBM, but the swift reply to nearly grab a kill onto the Jade Dragons jungler, very impressive.
I like the way they're playing. Again, good style. Weirdly enough, using PBM's walls to their advantage more often than not. Panda Cat's coming into the lane. He's going to look for a solo onto Zap.
Well, Zapman doesn't leap that far away, and Panda Cat's got the 1v1, and he'll taunt right in place there. There is something just so humorous about watching that rocket just kind of like weave its way on in, and then Don Zaburo leaps on out.
I'm looking at him now, that 2-0-1 slash line. It's getting to the point where we're at least seeing a little bit more out of him, and I think that's kind of the push and pull, right? We'll lose Zap, but we'll raise layers, and if that's what it takes, sometimes that's what it takes, and I really like the way that, again, the way the Scarabs are playing it, as long as they can keep this up.
Oh, I love it, right? And this is the layers that the Desk talked about in the pregame, the layers that has kind of found his footing as the phase has gone on. Remember, all the way back, it felt like, I say all the way, it's been not all that long so far in here into Season 8, but back when the Scarabs got their first win, a lot of that was layers kind of popping off.
Yeah.
And the Scarabs have not been without their woes, don't get me wrong, but it feels like these types of games, and granted this one far from over, the type of game where layers starts to go off a little bit, drive that pressure, is becoming a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, and I think, well, now we get to look at the replay. And you know what? I'm going to agree with you, but it's not any less ridiculous from his perspective than it is for the spectator.
Right.
Maybe slightly less ridiculous. We have a monitor over there. That's why I'm looking off vaguely into the distance. So maybe slightly less ridiculous overall, but I think it looks very good. And, hey, look, you get a solo kill. I think you keep Zapman down. It's good, but, and there's always that caveat, how long can you keep it up? Like, it feels like this is the forte for both of these guys. I mean, this is where they're supposed to be the loudest. They're supposed to be screaming. And they're just kind of meandering through the game, right? And I do think that there's a transition. Thanatos is my favorite just because watching what he can do later on. Right now, it's a lot of damage.
Whoa!
Akin to that.
There goes half of Layers' HP. Baronic with the big blast from the mid lane. And Sanford Soccer goes down. Mike will wall off too. But what a flurry of damage there. I don't think Sanford Soccer is assuming that one's going to happen. You got to be inch from the enemy team Hunter. Definitely can catch you off guard here. A bit of a wave freeze going on. The Solar Scarabs will slowly push up. Purple buff is now respawning. Remember, we saw a big fight that went the Solar Scarabs' way underneath their own purple buff just a moment ago. PBM is going to get stunned on back, but now Inbound taking way too much damage through space and time splits the uprights, and now Panda Cat on a killing spree.
And finding himself a good one. Going into the rocket even. They want to get aggressive on the Zap.
And Panda Cat right back into it. Zapman will leap away. Wall. PBM blinks forward. Wall.
Actually without beads, at least for another level, depending on where he goes at 12. But that's the problem right now. Last game, they had way more control over everything. They've still been winning a lot of good fights. I do still think they're dictating some of the pace of these team fights, but objectives after the matter are where they need to be important.
The blue buff fight happening now, I thought, as Sanford Soccer evaporates under the damage that Layers and SOT bring to the table. Final K pushed by the wayside here. A little bit tankier than Sanford Soccer, so you think, but it's a tier 1 tower dive through space and time. Their purple buffs even maybe look for a bit of an invade over onto the other side. But since Panda Cat has pulled this lead, they're even XP-wise, but 3 kills for Panda Cat has maybe slowed down the Solar Scarabs on the left-hand side, or so I think. Now PBM being looked at in the Desert Fury would all but confirm the kills. Now Layers 4-0-2 here in this all-important best of 3 on the backline. Hurrywin being run down. SOT will miss the up-down as Hurrywin makes his way beneath his own tier 2 tower. Looks like one and done for the Solar Scarabs.
I admire where SOT was trying to throw that.
No,
now it's put him in a position. Panda Cat, where are you going to go? He jukes out every ability. They might turn this around.
Well, big value out of the Aegis as well, but Panda Cat can't get it done up against all the members of the Solar Scarabs that are underneath this tier 1 tower. Final K stunned up against the wall. Sanford Soccer being run down by SOT. Just needs a little bit more damage. The silence is through. Sanford Soccer will survive for the time being.
For the time being, no one else seems to be over there. Fine, okay,
Fine,
still
okay.
chasing people down over here.
Fine, okay.
And he's getting it done.
Fine, okay. The Aegis gets used by Zapman as well. The pullback from inbound, but does that put Zapman in danger? No, it is not. And Baronic picks up a kill onto the Jade Dragon solo laner. Now level 17 for SOT Layers and Baronic. 5-0-3 for this Robin. 100% kill participation.
Surprised if we see this as well. A stun into, I'm going to slaughter you. I've got this Hydra's online as well. I'm going to throw my scythe, smack you down with it, and then I'll get the kill in the shield.
Maybe a bit of a fight happening here. Panda Cat does not ride the rocket
jump
into the fight, but Sandfor and Layers in a 1v1, and Sandfor Soccer stood no chance at all. Through space and time, doesn't connect onto anyone. Watch out inbound, half HP on the tank. The kiting backwards working wonders now for the Jade Dragons as they've been able to peel about half of everyone's health bar. Baronic kiting back better. It's a killing spree for the Giannis out of the mid lane, and the Solar Scarabs will find two.
You know, Dave, I've been preparing. I've been looking at a lot of milestones, right? I've thrown out games, wins.
Jade Dragons are facing, and it is a very real threat. This one palpable as the Solar Scarabs in control of this pivotal Game 3, and Inbound wants to fight now. He will blink forward. Final K exchanges back. He's found Zapman in the backline. Now the On-Her has to leap away. Frenzy gets used here. That's left SOT alone. Then the health bar, where did it go? Could there be an execute here from Sandfor Soccer? The dunk lurking in the backline, and there's your blood forge, Sandfor Soccer. First kill of the fight.
And hightails it out of there. I was wondering, is he going to turn around, try to fight Zap, Baronic? I mean, there's a lot of...
I think and kiss their life goodbye. 6-0-4 for Layers. Still 100% kill participation here in Game 3. The, quote, console jungler absolutely showing up against some of the best in the league, and the Solar Scarabs putting their name in that column. They believe they belong in that conversation, but the Jade Dragons will hear none of it. Panda Cat has opened up this fight with an opening kill, and SOT answers back onto the Jade Dragons carry. There's a stun from Sandfor Soccer onto Baronic, and the Aegis gets used, but Sandfor Soccer has the big burst damage. Hurrywind, alternate timeline. Oh, no, this one doesn't help him out. He just gets killed twice, but SOT melted through. Double kill for Sandfor Soccer. Thanatos, hello, 30 minutes in.
That's one more. Okay, two more, maybe three more. There it is. Finally, someone's going to be able to get the hit. Zapman hightails it out of there. Manages to stay alive, but Fire Giant, look, this would be great.
In 31 minutes, win a big fight, and they grab themselves EFG.
Double bonus. Everybody gets it. 2 carries. The guys that shred the towers already enough feel better, and it's an EFG. So 3 tier 2s seems pretty easy at 31 minutes into the game. I think the Phoenixes are where they have to start looking.
Go Zap, go.
Primal Fury.
Go Zap, go.
Very carefully and cautiously able to get that one. Trades it out with inbound, but ultimately this Thanatos pops off. I mean, he was 0-3 not too long ago. Now 3-3. And at the now they're precariously perched is the way I would describe this. You've got a good chance of defense on this Phoenix, but they've got a minute and a half to try and siege it down.
What a turn this game has taken. Jade Dragons down in gold, down in kills, up in map pressure, into the backline. Fine, okay, has found Zapman. Down goes Zap after the Aegis wears out. Panda Cat gets SOT as well. The Jade Dragons will hear nothing of this upset. The Solar Scarabs, they win Game 2. They push us to a Game 3, but in all likelihood, the Jade Dragons will take this set here in just a moment. Baronic cannot participate any longer, and the Jade Dragons make their way into the Titan room and right back into the win column.
Man, such a good start for them, too. Just a couple of fights that end up going not their way, and ultimately at the end of it, what,